𝗕𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁 Gopijana-vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Sodana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari My computer's fine. It's your system that's not fine. Computer's fine.
Can you do window P? Window P.
Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya, Asatara Satasri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Gangamaya Jamuna Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
I lost it.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale.
I lost it.
Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pacharane. Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskacha Deshatarane. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam
Yeah.
Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Vanchakalpa Trubhischa Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patichanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. My computer sees your screen. Your screen's not seeing my computer. You see how it goes on, goes off, goes on, goes on, goes on, goes off, goes
Hare
on,
Krishna.
goes on, goes on.
Hare Krishna, we would like to welcome Her Grace Urmila Mataji to our ISKCON NVCC temple. Urmila Mataji, Dr. 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝘃, has served ISKCON continuously since her initiation by Srila Prabhupada in 1973. She and her husband are in the Vanaprastha order since 1966. They have 3 married children, 13 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandsons. She has a PhD in education, was a primary and a secondary teacher for 27 years, and has 19 years of experience with school management. Urmila Mataji is the chair of Shastric Advisory Council to the GBC, was an associate editor of Back to Godhead for 30 years, and formerly a professor of sociology of religion at Bhaktivedanta College. She traveled worldwide teaching Krishna consciousness. She is the author of Career Dharma, Krishna Meditation, Essence Seeker. Dr. Best learned to read a 83-book literary program and the great mantra for mystic meditation. Let us welcome Urmila Mataji by loudly chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once.
I'm going to give up in about 1 minute. Oh, finally! Just when I was about to completely give up. Okay, and then we're going to, let's see if that works. Okay, that doesn't work. I may not be able to get this to work anyway. Nope. I may not be able to get it to work anyway. I'm going to try. I've got 1 more minute that I'm going to try. Okay, primary. Extend. I can't get it to work. It won't work. I want to see this and you see this.
Mataji, you can do extend. Window P, duplicate.
It's on extend. They're seeing my desktop.
Mataji, you can close this. Now you can do extend.
Yeah, okay. But then the problem is this is not seeing your monitor. That's the problem. When I pull this down, it's not pulling down monitor. So if I put it on extend, then it should show your monitor. It should be on the list, but it's not.
Or you can just put in duplicate and just do those slides.
Yeah, but then I'm not seeing my notes.
You will see.
Okay, I already tried that, but I'll try it again just to make you happy. It's on duplicate.
Slideshow.
Yes, slideshow, yes. Okay, now I don't see my notes.
From here, you can just change.
Okay, you want
From here.
here? Okay. See? That's what's happening. No, you can tell me what to do.
Mataji, can we copy this PPT into this? Then we'll show.
You want to copy it there.
Another system there, so that.
I'd like every time I'm about to give up, then they have another idea. Tech is great when it works, huh? And then I've got to be able to signal somebody. Okay. I'm working on it. Give me a minute. Okay. Again, thank you all for being patient. Sometimes tech works great, and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so you're going to show it there. Then I have to signal somebody when to change the slides. Office 2009. Okay. Is it operated from there? So I'm going to do two things at the same time. All right. He says, just this button, he says. Just this button, he says. This is getting really ridiculous. Which button? Yeah, I did all those. Maybe we're just going to forget about it. Are we ready to give up? Oh, there you go. So you sit there. And I'll just signal you. I'll just do this. Okay? Okay. All right. Oh, I was recording all of that. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I'm just going to stop that and start all over again. Okay, this is October 12th, 2025 in Pune, and we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, Text 53 to 54. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Brahma Bandhurna Hantavya Atatayi Vararana 𝗦𝗶𝗶𝗆 Paripayanusasanam Kuru Pratishrutam Satyam Tata Santrayata Priyam Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya Panchalya Mayamevacha. Please chant. Somebody chant. One of the gentlemen. Maybe one of the ladies? Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Uvacha, said, Brahma Bandhu, the relative of a Brahmana, not, Hantavya, to be killed, Atatayi, the aggressor, Vadha Arhanaha, is due to be killed, Maya, by me, Eva, certainly, Ubhayam, both, Amnatam, described according to rulings of the authority. Paripahi, carry out. Anushashanam, rulings. Kuru, abide by. Patishrutam, as promised by. Satyam, truth. Yattat, that which. Santavyata, while pacifying. Priyam, dear wife. Priyam, satisfaction. Cha, also. Bhimasenasya, of Sri Bhimasena. Panchalyaha, of Draupadi. Mayam, unto me. Also. Unto me also. Eva, certainly. Cha, and. Srila Prabhupada's translation, which presents us with a problem. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna said, a friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed. But if he's an aggressor, he must be killed. All of these rulings are in the scriptures, and you should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you must also act according to the satisfaction of Bhimasen and me. Impossible. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Arjuna was perplexed because Ashvatthama was to be killed as well as spared, according to different scriptures cited by different persons. As a Brahma Bandhu, or a worthless son of a Brahmana, Ashvatthama was not to be killed. But he was at the same time an aggressor also. And according to the rulings of Manu, an aggressor, even though he may be a Brahmana, and what to speak of an unworthy son of a Brahmana, is to be killed. Dronacharya was certainly a Brahmana in the true sense of the term. But because he stood in the battlefield, he was killed. But although Ashvatthama was an aggressor, he stood without any fighting weapons. The ruling is that an aggressor, when he is without weapons or chariot, cannot be killed. All of these were certainly perplexities. Besides that, Arjuna had to keep the promise he had made before Draupadi, just to pacify her. That was a promise to kill Ashvatthama. And he also had to satisfy both Bhima and Krishna, who advised killing him. This dilemma was present before Arjuna, and the solution was awarded by Krishna. Well, that's interesting. So here's the picture of the scene of what's going on. So here we have Ashvatthama there tied up. Draupadi, who Arjuna had promised Draupadi he would kill Ashvatthama, she's now begging for his life. And there is Bhima wanting to immediately kill Ashvatthama, and Krishna manifesting 4 arms to keep Bhima from doing that. And Prabhupada says, oh, you're just watching me. You're clever. All right. Prabhupada says the solution was awarded by Krishna. Does that sound like a solution to you? What do I do? Well, you have to do this, but you can't do that. And then you have to do this, but you can't do this. And you have to satisfy this and this and this and this that are all contradictory. Does that sound like a solution? No, he said you need to kill him, but you can't kill him. You have to make me happy. You have to make Bhima happy. You have to make Draupadi happy. Instead of your wife, he says, Priyam, your dear one, those who are dear to you. You have to make your dear wife Shantaha, meaning peaceful. So you have to satisfy your wife, you have to satisfy Bhima, you have to satisfy me, Krishna is saying, and you have to follow the scripture. Oh, but by the way, the scripture gives contradictory instructions in different places. Don't kill a Brahmana. Even a Brahma Bandhu can't be killed. If someone's even in the family of a Brahmana, you don't kill them. But Manu says if someone's an aggressor, even if they are a Brahmana, a real Brahmana, what to speak of a Brahmana Bandhu? They have to be killed. And Prabhupada gives the example of Dronacharya, who was a real Brahmana. But because he was on the battlefield, he had to be killed. Ashvatthama is not acting like a real Brahmana. In one sense, he's a worse aggressor because on the battlefield, there's rules and so forth. But here he's killing boys in their sleep. This is not battlefield killing. This is murder. But even though he's an aggressor, right now he's tied up and he has no weapons. Like you can kill an aggressor, even according to modern law, if someone's coming at you with a weapon, in self-defense, you can kill them. But if they're tied up, then you can't kill them because now they're not a threat anymore. And Draupadi says, hey, it's not only that Ashvatthama is officially a Brahmana, but he's the son of our teacher. He's Dronacharya's son. We should have gratitude to Dronacharya. And having gratitude is also a Shastric injunction. It's one of the 14 items of knowledge. In the Panchatantra, it says that the worst person is a person who's ungrateful. So Draupadi says we should be grateful. Then Draupadi also says something astonishing. She says, look, Ashvatthama just killed all my children. Now I have no children. If we kill Ashvatthama, his father's already dead, only child in the family. If we kill him, then his mother is going to be bereft not only of her husband, but also of her son. I am lamenting the loss of my children. I don't want her to lament the loss of her child. Who thinks like this? Who here has children? Who here are parents? Parents. Any parents? Any of you mothers? Mothers? Fathers? If someone murders your child in their sleep, would you say, oh, don't punish the murderer, don't kill the murderer, because then his parents will also cry? You'll not say that. Draupadi is a Mahabhagavat devotee. And she's speaking out of compassion. Arjuna had a similar compassion. She's a fit wife for Arjuna, huh? Arjuna had a similar compassion on the battlefield. Even though all these persons have tried to kill us so many times, we're not going to respond in kind. We're not going to kill them. So you have all these contrary things. How are you going to adjust them? So if we're in this situation like this, I have to do this, but I can't do this. And I have to do this, but I can't do this. And I have to please all these people with different desires. Just like one friend of mine is in a conflict with another devotee, and so they've contacted ISKCON Resolve. You familiar? They do mediation. And so one of the leaders of ISKCON Resolve, he wrote to me and he said, person A is saying person B is nasty, and person B is saying person A is nasty. Perfect for a mediation. Yes? So what do you do when there's not agreement? You go to some authority. If you don't know what to do, what do I do? What do I do? Do I stay in Pune or do I go for the yatra in Govardhan? What do? I don't know what to do. If I go to Govardhan, my mother-in-law can't go. Who's going to take care of her? What should I do? But my mother-in-law is telling me to go. So what do I do? So you might ask an authority, correct? So Arjuna asked the authority, not only the authority, but the best authority. We have here 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗃. He's not just some self-help guru who wrote a best-selling book. He didn't just put memes on Instagram, what to do. He's God, so he would know. All right, Krishna, what do I do? Have you ever been in this situation where you don't know what to do? And so you pray, my dear Lord, what do I do? You might think like that. Well, I'll go to God. I'll get a definitive answer. I get this kind of thing all the time that people will say to me, how do I know exactly what Krishna wants me to do? It's probably one of the top 10 questions I get asked anywhere in the world. All right, so Arjuna asks Krishna what to do, but Krishna makes it worse, not better. He doesn't solve the problem at all. He just says, it's not this or this, it's this and this. But the this and this that you're putting together are contradictory. What does Krishna says? Don't kill a Brahmana, but you have to kill an aggressor. Don't kill an aggressor who has no weapons, but you have to satisfy Bhima, who wants you to kill him. You have to keep your promise in the beginning to Draupadi that you would kill him. But you also have to pacify Draupadi now, who's asking you not to kill him. And you should satisfy me, Krishna, who says he should be killed. I mean, just imagine, you have some dilemma in your life, and you pray to the Lord, and the Lord actually speaks to you. Imagine that. He comes off the altar and he speaks to you and he tells you this. Well, you have to go and you have to not go. Now maybe Arjuna remembered Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna said, for one who's been honored, dishonor is worse than death. Maybe he remembered that. Maybe he was realizing, if I dishonor Ashvatthama, that will be killing and not killing. You know, and the great battle on the shore of the ocean of milk between the demigods and the demons. So Indra was trying to kill 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗃. And there was a voice from the sky. Does anybody know what the voice from the sky said? Anybody know? Anybody? Said you cannot use a weapon that is wet or dry. 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗃 cannot be killed by anything wet or dry. So Indra used a foam weapon. Not wet, not dry. Of course, 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗃 also, right? Lord Brahma said, gave Hiranyakashipu the benedictions, not inside, outside. Okay, doorway. Not land, sea, sky. Okay, lap. Not day or night. Okay, the sandhya. Nothing living or dead. Okay, nails. Yes? Krishna likes to solve these puzzles. It's fun for him. And sometimes he asks us to solve these puzzles also. Arjuna had to think out of the box, as we say. He had to get out of the box. So we're thinking this or this, but maybe we should think this and this. So Arjuna cut off 𝗕𝗵𝗴's hair, he cut off his jewel, and he exiled him. He was exiled for thousands of years, that he would have no friends. Just wander alone, suffering without dying. That's worse than dying, isn't it? To go for thousands of years, wandering, no friends, suffering without dying. Eventually, he becomes one of the Saptarishis, 𝗕𝗵𝗴. But that's another story. We're looking at this from Arjuna's perspective, not 𝗕𝗵𝗴's today. So we might think that understanding Dharma is something like figuring out a huge bureaucracy where everything is according to the rules with lots of layers of hierarchy and authority. We might think, well, that's what Dharma is. I have to study all the rules, and then I have to make sure I'm in the right hierarchy of authority. Now, there's two kinds of bureaucracy, according to those who study organizational structures, and one is called a machine bureaucracy. It's highly centralized, and there's one ultimate leader who makes all the decisions, and everyone else just has to follow them. Now, most organizations, as they grow in space or they grow in time or both, tend to become bureaucratic. Why? Because they're running into the same kind of problem over and over again, either over time or geographically or both. And then they're like, okay, this is the solution we used last time, so we'll use it again. Follow? I mean, we do this in our personal life, but in an organization, then it becomes calcified. This is the rule for this situation. And then something happens that's a little different, so then they change the rule again. And the rule book keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And after a while, even the leaders of the organization don't know all the rules. Usually they have to hire somebody that they can consult with. What's the rule for this? What's the rule for this? Like you have a parliamentarian who knows all of the rules. So we might think that that's how God runs the universe. We might think like that. We might think that's what Dharma means. Like there's this humongous rule book, 1,000,000 pages long. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we jivas think of more and more creative ways to do bad things. And then the demigods, they study these rule books and they know how to apply them. And they just follow these instructions like a machine. So we might think that that's how reality works. And we might think that that's how Dharma works. But it doesn't. That's not reality. That's not Dharma. Okay, we're going to turn to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's writings about Putana, the false guru. He said, the original purpose of the established churches of the world may not always be objectionable, but no stable religious arrangement for instructing the masses has yet been successful. Well, let's go more deeply into Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's statements here. He writes, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, in pursuance of the teachings of the scriptures, enjoins all absence of conventionalism for the teachers of the eternal religion. It does not follow that the mechanical adoption of the unconventional life by any person will make him a fit teacher of religion. Regulation is necessary for controlling the apparent worldliness of conditioned souls. But no mechanical regulation has any value, even for such a purpose. The bona fide teacher of religion is neither any product nor the favorer of any mechanical system. In his hands, no system has likewise the chance of degenerating into a lifeless arrangement. The mere pursuit of fixed doctrines and fixed liturgies. So doctrines is what you believe in, liturgies is your rituals. Cannot hold a person to the true spirit of doctrine or liturgies. The idea of an organized church in an intelligible form indeed marks the close of the living spiritual movement. The great ecclesiastical means belonging to a religious organization. Establishments are the dikes and the dams to retain the current that cannot be held by any such contrivances. They indeed indicate a desire on the part of the masses to exploit a spiritual movement for their own purposes. They also unmistakably indicate the end of the absolute and unconventional guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. The people of this world understand preventive systems. They have no idea of the unpreventive, positive, eternal life. Neither can earthly contrivance for the permanent preservation of the life eternal on this mundane plane on the popular scale. Let's look at some statements from Srila Prabhupada. You say, they mistake. Who are they? You say, you do mistake. Don't say they. This is bureaucracy, they. You are all they. Sometimes we talk about, ISKCON's doing, I don't know who ISKCON is. I've never met him. Who is this? We're all ISKCON, yes? If you want to know who ISKCON is, look in the mirror. If we're always saying they, it's them, Prabhupada says this is bureaucracy. That was in a conversation in 76 in Hyderabad. This is from a letter to Karandar in 72. You want to make big plans for centralization of management. I do not at all approve of such a plan. Do not centralize anything. The movement is for training men to be independently thoughtful and competent in all types of departments and action, not for making bureaucracy. Once there is bureaucracy, the whole thing will be spoiled. There must be always individual striving and work and responsibility. So we have some very heavy statements here from Srila Prabhupada and from his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, not to have centralization and bureaucracy. Why are they saying these things? Because that's not how Krishna runs things. It's not reality. Dharma is not about a mechanical rule book. It's about a relationship with Krishna. It's personal. Personality means I have my intelligence. I have my desires. I have my preferences. Prabhupada wrote this to one devotee. He said, yes, you and your husband are both devotees, but you have different opinions because you're people. Even in the spiritual world, there are different opinions. After Mother Yasoda tied up Krishna, did Nanda Maharaj think that was a good idea? Did he? Do any of you know? No. What about Mother Rohini? Was she happy with it? No. They had different opinions. That's because they're different persons. And Krishna wants a relationship with persons. Okay, if you want to say Dharma is given in the scriptures, that's true. And the Shastra has certain rules, which is true. And Krishna also tells Arjuna, you have to follow the rules of scripture. But how do we understand those rules and how do we apply them? Just like Prabhupada writes in the 4th canto, that Vanaprastha women should have matted hair and wear old torn clothing. So when my husband and I entered the Vanaprastha order, I wondered, should I wear dreadlocks? Should I wear torn clothing? But we know Srila Prabhupada is a Vanaprastha. When he went to one of the Gaudiya Math temples in Delhi, he asked the head of the temple, he said, I need to go preaching, and I only have 2 dhotis with holes in them. I need some new dhotis. Of course, they wouldn't give him new dhotis. They told him he was a troublemaker because he told them how they could print 800 copies of their magazine instead of 400 for the same price as 400. So the head of the mutt wrote him a letter and said, you're agitating the brahmacharis, why don't you go on parikrama in Vrindavan? Basically, politely threw him out of the temple. But the point is that Prabhupada wanted dhotis without holes for preaching, even though he was a vanaprastha. So it's in the Shastra, or like it's in the Shastra, the brahmachari should wear deerskin. Yes? So how do we know which of the Shastric rules to follow? How to apply them? Arjuna had to figure this out. How to deal with all these opposite things. How to follow the Shastra, but the spirit of the law, not just the letter of the law, because he couldn't follow the letter of the law because it was contradictory. So he had to do it personally. You find what Krishna is asking him to do is about personal relationships. He says, follow the scriptures and your dear wife, your priyam, make her shanta, make her peaceful. Your dear wife has to be peaceful. Krishna is also using the word priyam for Bhima and for himself. Draupadi is dear to you, Bhima is dear to you, I'm dear to you. Make us all happy. Look at relationships. This is what Prahlad Maharaj says. Let everyone be happy. Correct? One of the most famous mantras all over the world people think of with Hinduism in India. Let everyone be happy. Prahlad Maharaj said, let there be all good fortune for the universe. That's Dharma. If you say, I follow Dharma and everyone's miserable, that's not Dharma. If you say, I gave the patient a medicine, but they died because you gave the wrong medicine in the wrong dose, you weren't being personal, that's not Dharma. So the point of the rules of the scripture is to always remember Krishna, to become attached to Krishna. That's the whole purpose of the Shastra. That's the purpose of the rules. Yes? And Prabhupada says, if you always remember Krishna, then all the other rules will follow. It's sort of the reverse of how we think about it. We think, if I follow the rules, then I'll become attached to Krishna. That's also true. But it's much more a question that if you become attached to Krishna, then you will know how to follow the rules. Out of a desire to please Krishna, and a desire to please Draupadi, and a desire to please Bhima, then Arjuna could figure out how to follow the rules. But he had to start with that. How am I going to make Krishna happy? How am I going to make Bhima happy? How am I going to make Draupadi happy? Then he can understand, how do I apply the Shastra? So Krishna says that we should surrender to him. Right? Can we sing this verse together? Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. So my Gurukul students used to sing the English for this. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all sin. For reaction, do not fear. And what happens when we surrender to Krishna? Tesham evandu kampartam aham agyanajam tamaha nasayam yatmabhavasto jnanadipena bhasvrata. Then Krishna gives us. You know, if we're just thinking, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. If we think, how can I best surrender to Krishna? Then the other dharma is included, and Krishna will give us intelligence. All right, but you got to keep something in mind about Krishna. Ajam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. He's the oldest person, but not like Michelangelo painted him on the Sistine Chapel. He's Navayovanam. He's always youthful. He never gets older than 16 or 20. And it's not just that he looks young, but he has a youthful mentality. Of course, he has beginningless wisdom. Wouldn't that be cool? If I can have the wisdom of an old person and the energy and the exuberance of youth, what do they say? Too soon old, too late smart. So Krishna, he has all the wisdom of the universe as the oldest person, but he's very playful. He's a teenager. You don't know what teenagers are like, right? Some of you probably are teenagers. Or you have them, and maybe they drive you crazy. So Krishna has his teenage mood, eternally. He's playful. One time a devotee said to me, how can I make Krishna consciousness fun for children? I said, if you're in Krishna consciousness, you'll be having fun. Because Krishna's always having fun. I said, if you're not having fun, I don't know what consciousness you're in, but it's not Krishna. So Krishna doesn't say, okay, look, Arjuna, this is exactly what I want to do. Now you go and do it. You be my hand. That's what how the demons think. The demons think, I want others to just be extensions of my senses. I want everyone to be robots. I want to be the big dictator with the brain, and I can't do everything, so I want to tell other people what to do, and they all just go and do it as if they're extensions of myself. But that's not Krishna's mood. Of course, it does say in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that the Supersoul has his hands and legs everywhere. And Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas comment that we're like the Lord's hands and legs. This is also brought up in the commentaries on Bhagavatam 10:13 chapter. So in one sense, yes, we are the hands and legs of the Lord. One lecture Prabhupada said we're part of Krishna, means that we're a partner of Krishna. But it's not that we're meant to be just blind followers. Prabhupada says blind following is condemned. Right? Now sometimes, there may be sometimes that Krishna goes to a devotee and gives one very specific order. Go do this. But even then, like you think about Lord Ramachandra tells Hanuman, go and tell Sita, find Sita. Basically, find Sita. So Hanuman doesn't just find Sita, he talks to Sita. And he doesn't just find Sita and talk to Sita. He says, hey, while I'm here, why don't I go on a reconnaissance mission? And he's like, what's the best way to do that? Well, maybe I'll get captured. He had this whole plan. So he gave a message to Ravana. He spied on all of Lanka. He actually burned Lanka. So Ramachandra didn't tell him to do any of that. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told Srila Prabhupada, preach in English to English people. He didn't say go to New York. And first Prabhupada was preaching to English-speaking people in India. And then he thought, my Gurudev sent disciples to London, and that didn't work. And anyway, now people aren't following the British anymore. They're following the Americans. So better I go to America. So here Krishna's being very playful. He's not giving a direct instruction. He's not saying, go do this specific thing. He's giving an indirect instruction that Arjuna has to figure out. Krishna also does this with Bhima in the killing of Jarasandha. And there he does it not even with words. He just takes a blade of grass, splits it in half, and throws it in two different directions. Because Bhima says to Krishna, Na shaktoham Jarasandham nirjeta yudimadava. I don't know what to do. I don't have the Shakti. I've been fighting for 28 days. I'm not getting anywhere. And apyayam swaina tejasa. Krishna fills Bhima with his own energy, and then he just picks up this grass. And Bhima can understand. Yes? Krishna wants us to use our intelligence. He doesn't want just robots. Would it be fun if your family was just robots? Sometimes people might think like that. Let me get a spouse that's just a robot. Yes, Prabhu, I will do what you say. But you'd have very boring conversations with your robot wife. You understand? I saw this little video one of my kids sent it to me, of somebody just saying to AI, can you do a conversation? The AI says, yes. Okay, do a conversation. And all that the AI was saying was, so what would you like to talk about? I don't know, what would you like to talk about? But we should talk about something interesting. Yes, let's talk about, and this was going on for like 5 minutes. We might think like that. People ask me all the time, how can I make my child be a devotee? Do you think your child is a robot? And you just have to know the right buttons to push? Just a few weeks ago, one man was telling me, the whole reason I can't be Krishna conscious is my wife. Okay. So how can I make my wife do this, this, this? I said, I have no idea. I said, and then she's not talking to me, you're talking to me. He said, she's not even here. I said, what should be your question? It took him like 10 minutes to understand that he should be asking about himself. He wanted some formula whereby he could like remote control his wife. So sometimes we may think like that, but really if that was our only, if everyone we related to was just a machine who just did what we said, we would be very unhappy very fast. And Krishna doesn't want that. Prabhupada says he doesn't want to enjoy the material energy. In other words, Krishna doesn't want to enjoy matter. So what's unique about a living entity? A living entity can say, no, I'm not going to do that. Srimati Radharani can say, no, you can't see me. Prabhupada talks about this. So Krishna will say, I want to see Radharani, and Lalita say, sorry, I don't have any order from Radharani that you can come. Krishna likes that. He wants to deal with the person. Or when the boys go into Aghasura's mouth. Our acharyas say Krishna didn't want the boys to go into Aghasura's mouth. But the boys were thinking, Krishna likes to be a hero. Let's give him a chance to do something heroic. And then Krishna's like, no, what am I supposed to do? If I kill the demon, all the boys inside of him will die. How am I going to both kill the demon and save the boys? He likes to give these dilemmas to himself also. You understand? And then solve them. Or with Rukmini, when Krishna is telling Rukmini, just divorce me, marry someone else. And he wanted her to argue, but she didn't argue, she fainted. And when he picks her up, he said, I didn't want you to faint, I wanted you to argue. Then she started arguing. But at first she didn't, she fainted. And then Krishna said to her, by this action of your fainting, you have purchased me for all time. Although it wasn't what Krishna wanted her to do. How interesting. Krishna likes to be surprised by us. Life is fascinating because it's unpredictable. Even if you know someone very, 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 very well, you don't know exactly what they're going to do. That's what makes relationships interesting. Krishna wants personal relationships with persons. The ultimate dharma, what's the ultimate dharma? Service and love between the jiva and Krishna. That's ultimate dharma. What's ultimate dharma is our love for Krishna and our love for the devotees increases, and that Krishna's happy and the devotees are happy. That's ultimate dharma. And yes, we have to follow Shastra. Definitely. And Krishna says that in this verse. He says you have to follow the Shastra and you have to please me, please the devotees. Because what pleases Krishna and the devotees is written in the Shastra. But it's not like following something bureaucratic. That's not what dharma is. It's not what God is. God is not a bureaucrat. Would you want to work for a bureaucrat? Anybody here want to work for a bureaucrat? No. Sometimes I run into people's conceptions of God and I say, do you want to be eternally with this kind of a God? This is one of my questions to people who say that God sends sinners into eternal hell. That doesn't sound like a very nice person to me. And not just sinners. All you have to do is just not believe in God. That's like enough. Or maybe you just didn't hear about that particular religion, you know. Somehow, if you got from birth to death and you didn't hear about that particular religion, then you're going to burn in a lake of fire forever. Whoa. If any ordinary mother or father did this, we would put that parent in jail, wouldn't we? Oh, you're not going to follow me? I'm going to burn you forever. That's a child abuser, folks. It's like, why would you want to be with a God who's like this? Just because you're scared to go in the lake of fire, so you'd rather hang out with the putter in the lake of fire person? What a horrible existence for eternity. That's not the way Krishna is. He's not a bureaucrat. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says this kills everything. He says an organization has to be living. It has to be organic. Krishna is the ultimate life. He says, I am the life of all that lives. The main way we know we're following Dharma is by the result. Prabhupada said to judge a tree by its fruits. What are the fruits? Our relationships of love, our relationships of respect, of peace, of satisfaction, of truth. Are the devotees growing in peace? Are they growing in joy? Are they growing in satisfaction? That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Of course, we go to Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru with that in mind. When we're looking at the scriptures, when we're looking at the instructions of the sadhus, when we're looking at the instruction of Guru, we're thinking, how am I going to follow this to make Krishna and the devotees happy in this situation? And yes, you have to follow Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Krishna's including that. So it has to be within the circle of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, but the result has to be that Krishna and the devotees are pleased. If you say, well, I'm following Shastra, and if everybody's upset and nobody's functioning, but it doesn't matter because I'm following Shastra. That's not the way it works. You have to judge by the fruit. We need to judge by the fruit in ourselves and in others. This relates to Raghunath Das Goswami's instructions in Manashiksha about bathing in donkey urine, thinking you're getting clean, and feeling this burning within. If I'm not growing in peace, if I'm not growing in joy, if I'm not growing in knowledge, and if the people around me are not, then I'm misunderstanding how to apply the words of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Something's wrong. So that's the essence. Krishna is pleased, the devotees are pleased, peace, satisfaction, joy, rasa is increased within the circle of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And Dharma may sometimes mean and, not or. It may be something that's a little out of the paradigm. We're meant to use our intelligence because the ultimate reality is not a bureaucratic corporation. The ultimate reality is a dance, isn't it? Dharma is not a mechanical rule book of a centralized bureaucracy. It's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's nectar, Amrita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in teaching Srila Rupa Goswami, he taught him Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, not the centralized bureaucracy of bhakti. Rasa is relationships, ras amrita. Rasa is pleasure, taste, relationships, and the liquid essence, amrita, something that saves you from death. And not just a little amrita, but a whole ocean, bhakti ras amrita sindhu. Like the Lord swims in the ocean of milk. Actually, it said that Kurmadev, he's the Lord of rasa. And this ocean, this bhakti rasamrita sindhu, what does an ocean mean? There's waves, there's currents. Sometimes the waves are crashing into each other and flowing in different ways. And that's exactly how Srila Rupa Goswami describes the different 5 bhavas that make up rasa. When he's describing the actions of the Vyavacharya or Sanchari bhavas, he's describing them like that. And the disturbances that are caused by the Sattvika bhavas. They're going in different ways. An ocean of nectar, an ocean of life, an ocean that's full of liquid tastes, variety of tastes. Dharma is a dance, not a bureaucracy. If you tried to make the Ras Leela into a bureaucracy, would that be very nice? Oh, have you come for the dance? All right, sign your name here in the book when you arrived. Put down your name, date. All right, here's the dance rules, everybody. It would ruin the whole thing. Prabhupada writes in his purport to the song Manashiksha, he says, the aim of this Krishna consciousness movement is to enable us to approach Radha Krishna and associate with the Supreme Lord in his sublime pleasure dance. Someone asked me yesterday in the class, wasn't here, in Pune, but not here, are we supposed to be happy in our work? So I quoted this from 1876, where Prabhupada says that we should become increasingly enlightened and enjoy life with a thrill, not only for some time, but at every moment. That's what we're looking for in Krishna consciousness. So, again, thank you for your patience with the tech. Thank you for coming up with a solution. Thank you for being eagle-eyed and watching so closely, so you always got it right. I was really impressed with that. So anything good in this presentation is from Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, from the Bhagavatam, our acharyas. Any mistakes here, you please correct my mistakes, or ignore them. Anyone have any questions, comments, additions, subtractions, corrections, chastisements? Yes, Prabhu. And thank you so much for doing that.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji Dandavat Pranam. Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam. So Mahajano Yena Gatasa Pantaha. Very beautiful explanation on dharma, whether it is dance or bureaucracy. My question is, because the world is very highly connected, and also, above us, because apart from being devotees, we are also citizens of a particular country. So there is a constitution which talks about equality to everyone. So while dharma, we take care that, so constitution talks about similar reward punishment system, and dharma talks about specific reward punishment system based on the varna of the personality and the intent behind it. So how to reconcile both?
Well, first of all, most countries have some provision for all that, those shades. So in most countries, the law has some provision that what is your intent? Like there's different levels of murder. There's involuntary manslaughter, and there's manslaughter, and then there's murder 2, and there's murder 1, and there's different kinds of, there's burglary and robbery. So they have different gradations also. And they also do look at intent. They look also at mental capacity. And you notice that even in a civil justice system, that there's a judge. So the judge is not just to provide order in the courtroom. The bailiff could do that. You wouldn't need a judge. And the judge has to be a highly qualified person. In fact, Srila Prabhupada often uses a judge as like the symbol of being qualified, correct? He'll often talk about being a high court judge, correct? As like that's his epitome of a qualified person. Maybe today it would be a software engineer, I don't know. Prabhupada was using high court judge. So why are they so qualified? Because they know how to apply the law. Now sometimes there's a law that the judge can't adjust. Like sometimes there's a set punishment and the judge has to just institute it. But usually the judge has some leeway. Srila Prabhupada obviously either spent some time in courtrooms or read a lot about court cases, because Prabhupada refers to specific court cases frequently in his lectures and conversations. So he obviously, I don't know in what capacity, but he had some contact. I used to take my high school students as part of learning about civics. I used to take them to the court and have them observe different court cases. And I remember one case where the person was, he was brought in for selling cocaine. And the judge said, so this is the second time, he said, before you were convicted and I sent you to rehab and you didn't go, you left. He said, I'm giving you one more chance. Go to rehab, get training, get counseling. He said, if you don't do it this time, it's going to be 15 years in jail. So he had some leeway. He could adjust things according to the person. Or another case we saw, so this couple were accusing their servant of stealing. And they were accusing her of stealing one of their daughter's dresses. And the judge said, I'm very surprised you're bringing this to court for one dress. And the lawyer for the family says, Your Honor, actually, we're very convinced that she stole many things. He holds up a paper with this, like several sheets of paper. He said, but this is the one we can absolutely prove. He said, this is the only one for which we have strong evidence. And the judge gave her a very harsh sentence, even though the only thing he could convict her of was stealing a dress. So even in the civil codes, there's some provision like that. And in the universe, the demigods are like that also. That's why you can pray to the demigods just to mess with your karma, and they're allowed to do that to some extent. They can't pardon you from the material world entirely, but they can mess with your karma. I mean, you have to do some tapasya for that, you know. Does that answer your question? Yes, Prabhu.
Hi, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Can we take turns?
All right. Is there any lady who has a question? None of them raised their hand. Oh, now we have one. Oh, you did. I just didn't see you all the way over there.
Okay, thank you.
I have some ladies all the way like back there. At least I don't have, I hope I don't have any right behind me. So yes, what's your question?
My question, more like a realization, which something that was very, very interesting. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for the wonderful class. And, the perspective of understanding that Dharma is a dance and not a bureaucracy, which means when you mentioned that, rasa means, usually we understand or usually we start thinking, what is rasa? You said that it's a relationship, it's a sweetness, it's mellows, and so that is so interesting to understand. That every time, even within the devotees, when dealings with them, we have rasas, and every time I do mention this, this word, and this is the rasas, that we are exchanging when there is sweetness, madhurta, while dealing. I mean, we are in our garland services, and and also one more point that it's like, Harivilas Maharaj used to say, your god brother, so he would always say that you must take one thing as a takeaway from the class, at least one thing. So something that I feel like taking away is like when he's mentioned, Krishna he likes he likes surprises. It's very fascinating things that, delights him, right? So I believe, it was just yesterday's instant where, we were making garlands, and I would like go to every table because just, like a small garland, that's something I wanted to make. And then, picking up those flowers, usually like, they need for bigger garlands, like some colors, and I was like, can I have some colors that I could play with and, make a beautiful combination? Because you're always thinking about it, right? Because And then, I went and I requested and they gave me some and I was like, oh my God, I got this flower. Nobody gives me this flower. I mean, no one can give this flower because, they will use it for a bigger garland because they really need it for that design and pattern. And for small garlands, they not really. And I was so happy. And then the senior most Mataji, she said, if you have a desire, you'll Krishna Laje, arrange it and go make some nice design. And that that really touched my heart. I was in like, there's no kind of a bureaucracy here where, you have to follow a certain pattern. You have to follow this, but they give this. I am so, so thankful. Every single day I say that I'm so, so thankful. Coming here to NVCC and to all the devotees associating them, I can never ask anything more. I'm so grateful. Every service that we engaged, someone asked me what is, Prabhupada, when he used to say, engage yourself in devotional service, 100%. And someone asks you from here to, or any devotees, they are there. There's so many devotees. I even heard recently that everyone's going for Kartik Yatra, and they said that if you're going for Kartik Yatra, we have 10 soldiers at the back, back altar. I get to hear something. So they say that we have 10 devotees here, who can cover up, who can 24 services a day for the Lord, will do it. And that's like a soldier. That's like we are there, everyone's going, but there's some backup team. And similarly, you're saying that in the Matajis, we are there. We are there. Everyone's going, we want to cover up. We have that excitement. We have that, like a service kind of, and this is one, if anybody asking me what's an intoxication, serving the Lord more and more and engaging, that's high. Honestly. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have time for any more, or should we end now? Well, let's take one more of the gentlemen, one more of the ladies. Yes, sir. Is there a mic on that side?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, in my experience, I have seen that one cannot please all the people all the time. But we also have experienced sometimes to please Lord, we have to sometimes make someone unhappy, maybe it may close. Also for devotees from management level, at the same time you define that dharma means to keep everyone happy. So can you please help reconcile what is the spirit of this quote?
Wow, what a good question. If there's any Mahasweets, you need to give this devotee a Mahasweet for this question. So we have the situation where there was one scholar who came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he said, please hear my explanation of the Bhagavatam. It's better than Sridhar Swami. And Lord Chaitanya said, then you're a prostitute. You think you're better than your Swami. And nobody would then hear this devotee's explanation. But he was really enthusiastic about it. We get that way, right? We've done something. We want to show everybody. Oh, see what I did? See what I did? But nobody would listen to him. So 𝗕𝗵𝗴 Pandit was a very soft-hearted person. He wasn't a very confrontational kind of person. And so this scholar just walks into 𝗕𝗵𝗴 Pandit's house, just walks right into the house, sits down in 𝗕𝗵𝗴 Pandit's house, and starts reciting his explanation of the Bhagavatam. And 𝗕𝗵𝗴 Pandit's thinking, I don't know what to do. This is a respectable person, a respectable scholar. I'm not going to pick him up and throw him out. And anyway, 𝗕𝗵𝗴 Pandit wasn't like that. He just wasn't like that. Some guest comes to your house. What are you going to do? He was stuck. And he thought, well, the devotees will probably criticize me for listening to this man's explanation, but Lord Chaitanya will know my heart. And that's exactly what happened, actually. The devotees did criticize him. The devotees said, why did you do that, 𝗕𝗵𝗴 Pandit? After Mahaprabhu rejected him, why did you listen to him? And 𝗕𝗵𝗴 Pandit tolerated because he knew that he was in a difficult situation and Lord Chaitanya accepted. All right, you ready for the solution, how we deal with this? Okay. Don't try to please devotees independently. Try to act with devotees so Krishna will be pleased. Now, if you try to act with devotees so Krishna will be pleased, most of the time, that looks the same as you're trying to please the devotees. It's not the same in your consciousness. So I always give this example, that let's say I'm talking to you, but let's say actually I don't care what you think. Let's say I'm trying to impress you. And I'm talking to you thinking that you're watching. Have we all done this? Yes? So whoever you deal with, figure Krishna's watching and listening, because he is. And let me deal with this devotee in a way that Krishna will smile. But if you're trying to please the devotee directly, as if they're Krishna, basically, that will cause all kinds of conflicts. I'd say the majority of our human conflicts is due to this sort of thing. Trying to please some living entity separate from trying to please Krishna. And that jiva may or may not be pleased, but you had the intention. Your intention is, let me make Krishna happy by my dealings with this living entity, which should also make that living entity happy. I mean, of course, he's not a devotee, but Prahlad Maharaj was trying to make his father happy. He genuinely was. He actually genuinely liked his father, which is interesting. But he did. When he's saying Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smart, he's thinking, this will be good for my father. And my father asked me the question, so I guess he wants to know the answer. But he was dealing with his father in a way to please Krishna. When his father was displeased, and displeased is an understatement, so Prahlad didn't become devastated. Oh my goodness, I haven't pleased him. And if possible, come up with ands rather than ors. You know, Bhima won and 𝗕𝗵𝗴 killed, but Bhima was also satisfied. Is that all right? And then we have one more over here, and then we will end.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, I had the same question Prabhuji had. So you answered the question. So
Oh, I already answered your question. Okay, well then we have one more lady here. That's cool. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, just an observation, and I mean, I would like to know your opinion about it. Do we have bureaucracy in ISKCON? First question.
Yes.
Yes. So then, you know, see, I mean, I don't like to get into, you know, management.
Then
and all.
don't.
I stay away. But there are people who are into it. They get frustrated. How do they deal with it? Because the system at the top seems to be cold, impersonal.
Not entirely.
Not entirely, yeah, but just an observation. I mean,
We definitely have introduced some bureaucracy and centralization into ISKCON, which is one of the reasons I talk about this. That's actually what I studied. I studied educational leadership and management, and what are organizational structures and what is organizational cultures. How we can deal with this is we can educate our devotees, especially those who go into leadership and managerial positions, that it's possible to have a non-centralized, non-bureaucratic organization. You can have an organization that is not bureaucratic and is not centralized. Often people think that that's not possible. They think if it's an organization, it must be bureaucratic and centralized.
right.
They think that bureaucracy and organization are synonyms. If that was the case, then neither Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati nor A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada would have both started organizations and told you not to do them in a centralized or bureaucratic fashion. So I have worked with leaders and managers in ISKCON who are interested in these things. There are a number of ways you can study and a number of models of decentralized, organic. The opposite of bureaucratic is organic. Like Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati said, a living system. So there are examples of highly successful organizations that have existed for decades in the world that are organic and decentralized. And where they give what Prabhupada wanted, they give everyone a chance to become intelligent, to manage things, to understand things, and it's not just a question of this is the rule and everybody has to follow the rule. So that's something I've worked on for years for those people who are interested, and there's always some people who are interested. And hopefully at some point, we'll figure out how to do this on a full scale. Now, one way we can move towards doing this on a full scale, ta-da, is to actually institute, ta-da, Varnashram, which is not a bureaucratic or centralized system. So far, you know, I've written with my co-author, Dr. Ruchira Datta, aka Rukmini Devi Dasi. We've written a book on primarily on the Varna part of Varnashram. And we've been teaching it all over the world and trying to establish, as Prabhupada wanted, Varnashram colleges in every center. And right now we have 2 devotee communities in Radhadesh, Belgium, and New Govardhan, Australia, where the leaders there are very enthusiastic to institute Varna principles for the community, to change the system of community management to a Shastric system. So right now there's 2 communities that have that interest. It's a slow, careful process because things are embedded in the wrong way. And so, you know, how to change that without hurting anybody, make sure everybody's respected and make sure that everybody feels safe and cared for. So how to do that in the proper way takes some time. It's taking some years, but we are making progress with that. And if we can start educating devotees in general, first of all, that a centralized bureaucracy will kill bhakti. That's our acharyas, it's not me, don't shoot the messenger. The centralized bureaucracy will kill bhakti. And that there already exists in our Shastra an organic decentralized model in how a society should run according to Varnashram. That means people understanding what their nature is. It means people working according to their nature. And it means the 4 categories of nature on a societal level interacting with each other according to Shastra. How the Vaishyas interact with the Kshatriyas, how the Shudras interact with the Kshatriyas, how the Brahmins interact with the Vaishyas, and so forth. Not according to caste, but according to guna and karma, and how these interact with each other. And we'll be discussing this tonight. Where will I be? Far away. Jevari. Hinjevari. Did I get that right? Hinjevari. I'll be discussing that there. And we have our book here. If any, do we still have some? Do we have any career Dharma books left, or did we sell them all? We have some left. So if you're interested in the career Dharma book, especially part 3 of the career Dharma book is how to manage society. So part 1 of the book is how to find out what is your nature and why you should earn your livelihood or do service according to your nature. Part 2 is to how to use your work as service, how to see everything you're doing in the world as service. And part 3 is how do you run a society? How do you run your organization? How do these Varnas cooperate with each other, compete within the Varna, have checks and balances with each other in a model of all-inclusive sustainable prosperity? And we've given a chapter in that book called Vision for a Whole Society. What would a society look like if these examples were followed? So we're giving a template. We're giving a template. We're willing to work with communities to take them with that. So we're not just saying, don't do this. We're saying, here, do this. And this is actually what's given by God. This is what's given by Shastra. Like Krishna is telling Arjuna, follow Shastra. And the purpose of following Shastra, what you should get out of following Shastra, is that people are happy, people are peaceful, people are in the right place, people realize their individuality. And they can act with each other as individuals to be happy in this world, as Krishna says in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and attain ultimate liberation of going back to home, back to Godhead. So again, thank you very much. I think I need to end here. I have another class. Yes. I have to do this funny thing called eat, and then I have another class. My fuel gauge is starting to be very low, and the light is flashing that I need to put some petrol in the machine. And then I do have another class. So again, any mistakes I made, please ignore them. And anything good, please take them on. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
हरे कृष्णा। आइए हम उर्मिला माता जी जो श्रील प्रभुपाद जी के वरिष्ठ शिष्या में से एक है, उनको हृदयपूर्वक आज के सुंदर प्रवचन के लिए धन्यवाद देंगे। 3 बार हरि बोल बोलकर, हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। कुछ महत्वपूर्ण अनाउंसमेंट है। अभी आज का मराठी भगवत गीता क्लास जो है वो हमारे हिज ग्रेस महायोगी प्रभु द्वारा दिया जाएगा 11:30 बजे। 17 तारीख को मतलब आने वाले गुरुवार के दिन एकादशी है, रमा एकादशी, सभी भक्तों ने नोट करना है। शुक्रवार के दिन पारणा का समय होगा 6:29 से लेके 10:29 तक। तो ये रही आज की अनाउंसमेंट। अभी सभी भक्त प्रसाद के लिए प्रस्थान कर सकते हैं। हरे कृष्णा।
कृष्णा।
श्री श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की जय। नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले ब्रजमानं। नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम्। यशोदाभियोलुखलाधवमानं परामृष्टमत्यन्तदुधुतगोप्या। रुदन्तमुहुर्नेत्रयुग्ममृजन्तं कराम्बुजयुग्मेन सातङ्कनेत्रम्। मुहुश्वासकम्पत्रिरेखाङ्ककण्ठ स्थितग्रीवं दामोदरं भक्तिबद्धम्। इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यापयन्तम्। तदीयेषि तज्ञेषु भक्तर्जितत्वं पुनः प्रेमतस्तं शतवृत्ति वन्दे। वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षवधिं वा न चान्यं ऋणेऽहं वरिषदपेह। इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालं सदा मन्यनस्य वीरस्तं किमन्ये। इदं ते मुखाम्भोजम् अत्यन्तनीलैर्वृतं कुन्तलस्निग्धरक्तिश गोप्या मुहुशुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तधरं मे मनस्य अविरास्तं मलं लक्ष्यलाभे नमो देवदामोदरानन्त विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजलब्धिमग्नम् कृपादृष्टिवृष्ट्यातिदिनं बतानु गृहाणेश मामाज्ञा मे दक्षिदृश कुबेरात्मजौ बद्धमूर्तिर्वयद्वत् त्वया मोचितो भक्तिभाजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकां मे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेह नमस्तेऽस्तु धाम्ने स्फुरद्दीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथ विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकाय त्वदीयप्रियाय नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकाय त्वदीयप्रियाय नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकाय त्वदीयप्रियाय नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jayo Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Radhe Radhe. Jayo Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radhe Radhe.